Okay, so it's time to start this webinar. I would like to welcome everybody for joining us today. You have the possibility to listen to different languages. At the bottom of your screen, you can select English or Chinese or French or Spanish or Hungarian. So I hope you found the way to select your preferred language. Today, we are going to listen to Dr. Eva Firth. She is the Research and Development Director for Tonicity International. And the subject for today is the health benefits of isotonic drinks for dogs and cats. So welcome, Eva, and it's up to you.
Thank you, Matthew. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to have you all on board today, and I look forward to spending some time with you. As Matthew said, I am responsible for product development, product research, and quality control within Tonicity. And Tonicity is the parent company of the Doggy Raid brand and KittyRade products that we'll be talking about today. I'm a veterinarian and a board certified specialist in veterinary emergency and critical care, recognized in both Europe and USA and Australia, actually. I've spent about 30 years in emergency practice, with about 10 years of that being on the faculty of veterinary schools in 3 different countries. And then probably about 20 years in private emergency practice. But for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been with Tonicity. I was one of the developers of our products and part of the original patented technology. So I lead our research. I've done my share of technical and professional publications, but most of all, I'm very practical. I'm actually not a very good academic because I just like to fix things, and I like to fix them now. So let's go on and talk about our products that you're particularly interested in today. And we're going to focus on 3 main themes: that's health, hydration, and great taste. And we'll be talking about DoggyRade, KittyRade, YummyRade, and DoggyRade Pro. So there are various products on the market, liquids designed to provide supplements or health benefits to dogs and cats. Broths are very common, or bouillon, and bone broth is very popular in the United States. Chicken broth, beef broth, all those sorts of juicy drinks. Other drinks and liquids are designed to deliver certain amino acids as supplements, quite commonly for the hair and skin. There are then also many, many electrolyte products on the market, which are designed for rehydration. And other products on the market are designed to support intestinal health. And these are commonly probiotics, pro being emphasized here. And of course, we have water. DoggyRade combines the best of each of those categories into one product, although we substitute prebiotics for the probiotics. And this is true for KittyRade and YummyRade and DoggyRade Pro as well. So I'm going to step you through each of the features of these products and explain why our products kind of have the best in each category. So as a baseline, all of our products are ready to drink. You don't have to mix anything. You don't have to measure anything. You just open the package and pour it into a bowl. They have highly palatable taste. When we studied that properly, and we have the data on file to show that, I'll share some of that data with you later on. They all have shelf-stable prebiotics. They all contain very useful amino acids, and particularly the amino acids that provide intestinal support in most of the products. They are all a perfectly well-balanced isotonic electrolyte solution, which provides the most efficient source of hydration. And at this point, they are all made with real chicken liver, which is hydrolyzed so that it's hypoallergenic. And there will be more flavors coming. So you'll have to stay tuned to see what the new flavors will be. Carrying on with all the products in general, none of them have any genetically modified organisms in them, no GMOs. They are all gluten-free and grain-free. There's no artificial colors or flavors. They are, in fact, low calorie and low fat. And all these things combine to make a product that delivers great taste, good health, and good hydration. If we want to compare the products in a little bit more detail, these three are really focused at the retail customer. Over-the-counter, ordinary consumers buying things at the pet store or at the supermarket or online. And DoggyRade is for dogs, KittyRade is for cats, YummyRade is for both, and DoggyRade Pro currently is just for dogs. They are all liquids, although YummyRade is a little bit more viscous, thicker.
YummyRade egy kicsit viszkózusabb, egy kicsit sűrűbb folyadék. Ennek az a célja, hogy a tápra, normál tápra tegyük. A másik kettő, a DoggyRade, a folyadékpótlásként szolgál, és igazából lehet jutalmazni.
Ser utilizado como una golosina para ofrecer.
Un biscuit tous les jours.
那 KittyRade 呢，它主要是一个非常可靠的。
So is formulated but also fortified to provide extra support in illness. So it has more of all the good things than some of the other products. And we'll step through each of these. So for good health, the benefits we provide are better nutrient absorption, better water absorption, and improved total fluid intake. We will be able to have a beneficial impact on the intestinal microbiome, and we can support illness. All of those things add up to a very healthy product. And I'm going to start with cats first because they are known for not drinking. And renal urinary tract disease is the #1 cause of illness in cats. Studies around the world in both Europe USA and Asia have shown that 1 in 3 cats experience kidney or bladder disease, and that incidence can be higher depending on the mineral content of the water, which is particularly a problem in Spain and Chile. Cats are known to be very picky or fussy about their water and their bowl. Most of the time, they don't like to drink the chlorinated water that's treated by the city. They prefer cold, clear water. That's why you often see them drinking out of the kitchen sink or the bathtub sink or even the toilet, or else a rain puddle outside. So this is one of my patients who had a urinary tract obstruction, a bladder obstruction. And this is not blood going into him, it's blood coming out of his bladder. That's how sick they are. It's really quite a terrible issue. And so we want to try to support the cats and make sure that they have a good source of hydration before they get to the point where they're blocked and have to go to the hospital. And cat owners are quite devoted most of the time. They are generally well aware of their cat's drinking behavior. Most owners are aware of the potential issues with kidney disease, and they're willing to reach for solutions and support. So we've given that to them. And this is KittyRade. This cat belonged to one of our staff members, actually. And we did not Photoshop this picture. The cat really liked it that much, it was licking its lips. We have done studies to check the taste and palatability of KittyRade. In our most recent study, we organized 20 cats for 4 days in a professional kennel that does taste tests for a living. Each cat was offered 500 mils of KittyRade and 500 mils of water in 2 separate bowls each day. And that's a lot of liquid, okay? That's a liter of fluid for each cat. And first of all, we observed them to see which bowl they went to first each day. And 96% of the cats on average took KittyRade as their first choice each day. And that was statistically significant and highly significant at p less than 0.0001. So we have a clear indication that most cats will drink KittyRade voluntarily. And then we also measured how much they drank each day. And on average, the cats drank 9 times more KittyRade, here in the pink, than they did water. And the numbers were KittyRade, an average of 333 mils per cat per day, and water, an average of 37 mils per cat per day. And this is quite a typical value. We've seen in other studies that cats will drink somewhere around 40 to 50 mils per cat per day. And that's enough to get them by, but it's not enough to give them a great hydration and to keep the urinary tract running nicely. So we're very happy with those results. And to make this video play. There we go. you can see for yourself, this is a real cat. This is not a test cat. This is belongs to a real person. Quite eagerly drinking it. Here's another one. He's kind of looking around saying, ooh, yum. Says, I need some more. So there aren't many products on the market. I would say there are no other products on the market where you get a reaction like that out of cats from the first time they've seen it. So we're quite happy with KittyRade. And we have the same reactions when we give DoggyRade or YummyRade to the pets. They take it quite readily. Usually they lick the bowl. Sometimes they try to eat the bowl. And we are then confidently able to say that we're providing great health benefits and good hydration. Now, if we want to dig into the health a little bit more, let's talk about the intestinal microbiome, because this is an important feature, and the microbiome has been shown probably in the last 10 years to have an incredibly important impact upon the intestinal health and the general health of the animal. So first of all, what's the microbiome? Well, it's just a word that means all of the microorganisms, bacteria mostly, that live in the intestinal tract. And there are literally trillions of them. Nobody can count them. It's like the stars in the sky. And those bacteria have beneficial roles. They aren't just sitting there doing nothing. They actually have a useful function, several useful functions. And they, first of all, help to digest certain nutrients, especially fiber. They help to modulate the pH of the intestine and maintain the correct acid-base balance. Certain bacteria provide energy sources to the intestinal cells, especially those bacteria that are in the large intestine. And it's been shown in humans that the bacteria are actually producing 80% of the body's serotonin, which is a hormone that helps to stabilize mood. So we'd like to encourage the good bacteria. And that has historically and has historically been done through the application of probiotics. And the most common example of a probiotic is yogurt, which contains live bacteria from the family of Lactobacillus acidophilus. Now, live bacteria, as you might imagine, require some controlled temperature storage. Usually they have to be refrigerated. They have a short shelf life. You can't keep them in the refrigerator forever. So sometimes manufacturers will freeze dry the bacteria and sell them as a powder. But in both kinds of preparations, it's difficult to get the right dose. You're never quite sure if they're getting everything that you started with. And that's further complicated because we're putting those bacteria in on top of the existing microbial population. So they have to compete for space. They have to move other bacteria and try to shift the population, which is quite a challenge. So the other approach that's taken to modulate the intestinal microbiome is to use things that are called prebiotics. And these are natural fibers, such as found in chicory, inulin, and a few other molecules. And the techno name is fructo-oligosaccharide or galacto-oligosaccharide. Now, because they're fibers rather than living organisms, they are shelf stable, so they don't require refrigeration. They don't need to be reconstituted or mixed with water, and they can stay in solution for as long as you want. And they work by feeding the good bacteria that are already present in the existing microbial population. So it's a very efficient and stable strategy and reliable. And that's the strategy that we've used in our products. That's why you'll see That's why you'll see DoggyRade with prebiotics in it emphasized, and the same for the other 3 products. As a concrete example of the impact of DoggyRade on the intestinal system, we need to thank our colleagues in Hong Kong and China for lining up this study. Thank you, Richard, for running a little evaluation with 17 different dog owners. And the owners were asked to evaluate the consistency of their dog's feces, with this being sort of the ideal consistency, number 1. Number 2, a little bit loose. Number 3, more sloppy. And number 4 is very, very bad. So either really, really hard poo or diarrhea. And before the evaluation started, in which the dogs were given DoggyRade twice a week for 4 weeks, 65% of the owners rated their dog's poo as a number 2, and only 12% rated it as a number 1, being ideal. But after 4 weeks of DoggyRade, 82% of the owners told us that their dogs now had poo looking like this, and all the others went down as well. So they shifted into the good category. And we also evaluated owners' opinions on appetite and general health and urine volume, and all their reactions were quite favorable. But this is a very visible scoring system, and it's hard to argue with this. You know, an owner might think their dog looks better or feels better, but what's coming out of the other end is very real. So we're very happy, and this is a very strong result. So we know that the products can support the intestinal microbiome. And let's talk now about hydration as well. There are dozens of products on the market for humans, which are not just water anymore. We have sports drinks, we have mineral water, we have flavored water, we have fizzy water. And the question is, what about ordinary dogs? Shouldn't they just have water? Well, the question is really, is there such thing as an ordinary dog? Every dog is out there running in the park with its family. Dogs are very special members of the family. They go everywhere with their owners. And dog sports are, in fact, a worldwide phenomenon that is just amazing, with agility, and hunting and flyball and sled racing. So I would say there's no such thing as an ordinary dog anymore. But why not just water? And the reason for that is because we understand physiology now in a way that we didn't understand 50 years ago. And we know that sodium, potassium, glucose, water, the absorption of them is all linked, and it all happens in the small intestine. If we look down the small intestine with an endoscope, we see this kind of picture like a fuzzy carpet. And the surface area of this is spectacular. If we actually ironed this flat, in a human, it would be the size of a tennis court. And through that surface, every molecule of glucose or sugar or sodium or any amino acid has to be taken in through the lumen of the intestine into the intestinal cells and then moved out into the bloodstream. And that requires sodium, potassium, glucose, and water. And you can't just throw in any mix of sodium or sugar. You need to balance them. And so a fluid that contains the same total concentration as in the blood is called isotonic. Iso meaning that it's the same. And that's measured in 200. It's measured in units called milliosmoles. The normal range is about 280 to 310 for dogs or cats. And so every intravenous fluid is isotonic, and good oral rehydration solutions are also isotonic. And all of the DoggyRade products are in fact isotonic. And they are therefore much more than just water. Now, as we said, dogs and cats are good at getting certain illnesses. And with my veterinary background, this is a particular focus for me personally. And we know that gastroenteritis is the #1 cause of acute illness in dogs. This tree map is based on a study of 125,000 cases I did a few years ago. And 23% of the dogs came in to the clinic for some sort of gastrointestinal problem. And of course, when you've got vomiting or diarrhea, you're losing fluid, and it can be very sudden and very severe. It's often treated with these kinds of electrolyte products, which are salt and sugar. But, and some of them don't taste very good. They tend to taste kind of blah. And that's a problem, because when an animal is not eating, not feeling well, they lose their appetite. So then there's no food coming into the intestines. And that fuzzy carpet tends to shrink and atrophy, which then causes decreased gastric motility, which then causes cholestasis, liver issues, pancreatic issues, and that compromised intestinal function results in a longer recovery. And this is the key problem right here. in illness. We want to keep that intestinal mucosa nourished. So if we give DoggyRade Pro in the early stages, then it nourishes the intestinal cells. We skip all these other consequences, and we end up with improved intestinal function and a quicker recovery. And this is the concept called microenteral nutrition, which is a whole nother lecture, but this is the highlight. And as I said, nothing works if they won't eat it or drink it. So this pug it's not very sick, as you can tell. But yeah, once they actually open the package, they're in it, they're drinking it, and just about ready to eat the package as well. Okay. So great taste, good health, good hydration, intestinal support. And DoggyRade Pro will help a patient get from a poor appetite across that bridge to a quicker recovery. And this can be used in dogs with gastroenteritis, parvovirus, pancreatitis, those dogs having surgery, dogs with renal issues, and those that are critically ill for any other reason. So, again, I have more dog videos of them drinking happy. You can see these on our website and our YouTube channel. But it's time to sum up. And let's just say, on the face of it, water is boring. So we created a refreshing drink. Minor gastrointestinal upsets are common in dogs. And so we developed products that specifically promote intestinal health. We know that kidney or bladder problems are common in cats. So we created a highly palatable drink the cats will drink, 97% water. We know that treats are fattening. Well, many of them are. So we created a formula that has low calories, but is still tasty. Dogs are easily dehydrated and overheated. Even the ordinary suburban dog runs around in the park. Studies have been done to show that they can get dehydrated, measurably dehydrated, within 30 minutes. So we created a formula that replaces both water and electrolytes quickly. And we know that probiotics are not very stable. So we use prebiotics, which are very stable and work reliably. These features have been recognized by the pet food industry. We've already won 3 awards in the last 3 months for our products in the United Kingdom. And you can be confident that you're using a product that is well respected and high quality, and a product that is not just water. It contains good science, it's backed by good science, contains useful ingredients that will really help the pets and satisfy the owners. So with that, I'd like to say thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Eva, for this presentation. We have a few questions already. If you would like to ask a question, please use the chat function. You can write your question and then we will answer to them. So Eva, the first question that came is there any study which has been conducted on cats of stage 2 or 3 of the chronic kidney disease about their preference for KittyRade? So can KittyRade be useful in case of chronic kidney disease?
I'm very aware of chronic kidney disease, and KittyRade is formulated to be safe for cats with chronic kidney disease. There is no calcium in it, and it has a very low phosphorus content. So we're confident that it's not going to overload the kidneys. Have I done studies in cats? No, because I need to line up 30 or 40 cats with chronic kidney disease. And that takes time to enroll that many cats from individual owners. But it's on the list.
Okay, thank you. Another question is about the quantity that the cats are drinking. So you mentioned that cats were able to drink more than 300 milliliters of KittyRade, and someone was wondering if that could be too much.
I think it's a lot, and our KittyRade package is labeled to provide, I think it's about 60 or 100 mils per cat per day, which would be a useful amount. I think if they were really drinking 300 mils every day, the litter box would be very full.
Okay,
but
so
the reason we did that is because in a palatability study, you want to find the boundaries. You want to make sure that the intake is not limited because you only offered a little bit. So in palatability studies particularly, you always over offer.
okay, so your recommendation is actually to give less, a bit less, but to give regularly.
Yes, it can be every day.
Okay, thank you. So another question, so you've been speaking about the positive impact these products have on intestinal health. As a dog or as a cat owner, it's of course difficult to observe the benefits inside the animal. Do you have examples of visible effects, for example, for DoggyRade on the dog's behavior, that the owner can really see something happening?
Yes, the study that our colleagues in Hong Kong and China did with those 17 dogs did actually ask the owners about behavior, appetite, attitude, playfulness, and they all came back positive.
Okay. I think we also have heard about older dogs being more active. Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I have many questions coming, so let's try to address all of them. Next question is about allergic dogs, and we have questions. Is DoggyRade completely hypoallergenic? Can we give this product to allergic dermatitis with chicken protein in dogs? So dogs allergic to chicken protein, is it safe?
Yes, it is safe. The product that we use for flavoring is chicken liver, first of all, not raw chicken meat. And secondly, it's processed with a process that removes the allergic components. In fact, hydrolyzed chicken is actually used as a hypoallergenic test diet.
Okay,
So we're quite confident on that.
Okay, thank you. Another question, it's about the DoggyRade Pro. Can it be used together with other recovery liquid medication, like for example, nasopharyngeal treatment?
Absolutely, yes. That's one of my particular areas, is tube feeding. So if a dog is on tube feeding, I would actually start with DoggyRade Pro within the first 12 hours of illness, of admission, and do that for another day or so, and then gradually introduce the liquid feeding products. It can also just be used, it can be given if the dogs won't drink it voluntarily. It can be syringed in by mouth because it's very easy, it's liquid. Okay. Or tube feeding.
I have a question from a veterinarian here, technical person, who asked me what is the absorption speed in the intestine of those solutions?
That's a good question.
Do we have information about the speed of absorption?
No, to do that, I would need to do radio-labeled tracer studies.
Okay, but we know that isotonic solutions are absorbed easily. I think that's the most important message.
It is, and that is well documented. Some of the slides I were not able to put in are the slides about the use of oral rehydration solutions in children with cholera. And that was the study that was done in the early 70s that first realized that just water wasn't good enough. And you actually, by putting in the sodium, potassium, and glucose, you did increase both the speed and the efficiency of absorption of water.
Okay, thank you. Somebody was asking about the doping substances. They are concerned that there are doping substances in those products. For example, for sports dogs, is it safe to use this kind of solution, and you will not get penalized for using doping substances?
Yes, we're very safe in that. There is no artificial substances, just and in fact, one of our brand ambassadors is racing sled dogs competitively, and she asked me the same question. It's fine. There's no caffeine. There's no anything. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you've been talking about gut health and the benefits of gut health on the overall health of the animal. You've been also speaking about hydration, which we know is important, for example, in cats. For dogs, maybe people would think this is useful mostly in summer, but what about winter? Can it be useful as well?
Absolutely. We tend to see a higher incidence of acute diarrhea actually in the autumn and winter months. And so I agree, they're not out running in the hot weather. True. But they are also much more susceptible to intestinal issues in the colder months. So that's a very good reason to keep using DoggyRade throughout the entire year.
Okay, thank you. Another question about the product for retail. So DoggyRade, KittyRade, can we give them in combination with diet food? For example, for animals which have kidney disease who are on a special diet, can we use DoggyRade or KittyRade?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. They are, where's my chart? YummyRade is particularly formulated to add a flavor burst on top of any food. And yes, I'm very aware that some of the dietetic foods, kidney food, liver food, heart food, and intestinal food, they're very bland. They don't taste much. But this will add the flavor without adding too much salt, without adding any fat. And YummyRade is the perfect solution for that situation.
Okay, thank you. Can we, at what age can we use those products? Can we use them, for example, for puppies which are not weaned yet?
I would not recommend that they use before weaning, but they could be used, DoggyRade or YummyRade could be used to help introduce solid food, but they should, if the puppies aren't weaned yet, then they're not weaned yet, and they need to be drinking their mother's milk.
Okay. And do you have knowledge about the impact on the mother itself? So when the mother is producing the milk, can, for example, DoggyRade be useful?
Yes, yes. Mothers that are even about to give birth often don't eat for 12, 24, 48 hours sometimes, but that's the time when they do need to be kept hydrated. And so DoggyRade is very useful for that situation. And we've had reports of this from dog breeders. And then after whelping is finished, then as they start to increase their milk production, they will need excellent hydration. And I would definitely be using DoggyRade for the nursing mothers.
Okay, thank you. There is another question about breeding the young animals, and somebody is asking, can we give, for example, DoggyRade Pro to puppies in the critical time when there is drop in maternal immunity? Would it be helpful to use, for example, to prevent parvovirus?
Oh, I'm not going to say that we're going to prevent parvovirus. Sorry. I think it would be helpful, though.
But we have a feedback from breeders who have used it in puppies which were already infected with parvovirus, and we said that it was helpful indeed.
Oh, well, that's a different story.
Yes.
Because I particularly, along with our chemist, Dr. Van Dalsum, who is on the call today, we designed DoggyRade Pro to help the patients that had parvovirus. They were a big part of my emergency practice. And once they've got parvovirus or some other intestinal issue, DoggyRade Pro is definitely important to use. The question was, will it help prevent parvovirus? I'm not going to say that.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. Another question, somebody was wondering if they could dilute the solution with more water.
Oh, you don't need to. No. It's perfectly balanced the way it is.
Okay. So you give the solution and then later you give water.
Yeah, have a bowl of water somewhere else. Just keep the water somewhere else.
Okay. Okay, one very practical question now. Somebody was asking about the storage temperature. The instruction on the product says 5 to 20 degrees storage, so they understand there is no need to keep in a fridge the product for storage.
Yeah, if I were going to write that label again, I would probably say 10 to 20, just at room temperature. That's all we're trying to do. I don't want it, it doesn't, you could freeze it. You can freeze it as little ice cubes if you want. But it should be in a hot place. Don't put it in the sun in the windowsill.
Okay, but once it is open, keep it in a fridge.
That's true, yes.
Okay. Okay, just now we got a question. Is it possible to freeze it as a nice street cream in the summertime? So you just answered to that question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Another question, why is it important that the products are low calorie and low fat?
Many gravy toppers, particularly, are high fat because fat tastes good, but it causes weight gain and it can cause pancreatitis. So it's beneficial to be low fat. Low calorie, we want to emphasize the fact that it's not just a sugar drink.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Eva. I don't see. Okay, see, I have one more question. After we open it, how long can we keep it and where should we keep it?
We should keep it in the refrigerator. I know it will keep for at least 3 days, maybe 5 days. I put 3 days on the label to be conservative and safe. But honestly, just like any broth or soup, if it smells funny, then don't use it. If it doesn't smell funny, then go ahead.
Okay. Okay, a few more questions. Did you ever measure the impact of KittyRade on the pH of the urine compared to normal water?
Not yet, but I will.
Okay. Okay, so you still have a lot of things to investigate. Okay. Is there any problem if a cat is using DoggyRade by accident?
No, there's no problem. The products are very similar, but KittyRade has a bit of a stronger flavor just to entice the cats, but there's no other danger.
Okay, so a dog could drink KittyRade, a cat could drink DoggyRade, nothing wrong will happen.
Correct.
Okay. But those products have been, of course, designed to answer specific needs of dogs or cats, so that's why there are two products.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's clear. I don't see any more questions. If someone wants to ask more questions, we still have a few minutes. Is there any points that you wanted to add, Eva? Maybe some points that you want to clarify or?
I would encourage everybody to to have a look at our website. We have great videos that show both commercial type images if you're trying to convince your customers, or real cat and dog videos if you prefer ordinary real person things. And I have to say I like this job because it's actually part of my job to watch cat videos.
Okay.
For the vets, veterinary nurses and veterinarians, I have written a lot of user guides for the DoggyRade Pro, which are available to you at any time.
Okay, I have two more questions that came up. Actually, one was there for some time, but I forgot to answer it. Somebody was asking if I have a huge San Bernard dog, how much is it able to drink?
Oh, I think you would want to buy the 500 milliliter pack.
Yeah. Okay.
We make DoggyRade in both 500 and 250 milliliter packages. And St. Bernard, yeah, they're gonna need the large size.
Okay. Another question, is vomiting contraindication of the use of DoggyRade Pro? And if it is not a problem to give to a vomiting dog, then what dosage do you recommend?
Then the trick with vomiting dogs is to not give them a large volume. So we want to give them about 1 ml per kilo every 2 hours, or you could average that out and say 5 ml per kilo every 4 hours. That's a nice round number. And that volume is consistent with the normal secretory volume of the stomach and will not particularly trigger further vomiting. And then if we do that for 12 hours and everything's fine, then increase the volume by half every 8 to 12 hours. And then start bland food after the first day. We are also starting to market DoggyRade Digestive First Aid Kit, which will contain packages of DoggyRade Pro and also our own custom blend mix of a bland food diet, which is things like potato and rice and dried carrots that the owners can just mix with DoggyRade Pro, and that will be the bland food.
Okay, thank you. I have two more questions. So the study that you discussed, which was done in China on dogs, in this study we were giving 1 pouch of 250 ml per week. So it was distributed over 2 or 3 days during the week. And do you think this is the dosage we should recommend to all over the year? 1 pouch a week would be a good dosage?
I think it's a great start. People need some guidelines to start with, and then after that they can find their own way. It's not a drug, okay? There's no maximum or minimum dose that's required for for medical reasons. So I think the dogs will benefit most and the cats, if they get it regularly, rather than waiting till there's a problem. So you'll see the best intestinal effects if you give it on a regular basis. And then you can always use it as a treat when coming home after a walk, where you go to the refrigerator and get a nice refreshing drink, and then your dog can have a nice refreshing drink when they come home from the walk as well.
Okay. I have a question from someone from the Chinese audience who was asking if it would be possible to have KittyRade in smaller packages because they think 250 ml might be too much for them. So do you have any plans?
Yes, we are planning to make KittyRade in much smaller packages, probably 60 or 120 ml.
Okay. Okay, maybe the last question, can we use YummyRade on gestating female?
Yes.
Okay, very clear answer. Thank you very much, Eva. I think it's now time to close this webinar. I would like to thank all the attendees. We had a big crowd today, so that's great. I would like to thank, of course, Eva for the very interesting presentation. And I would like also to thank the translators who had, I know it's a very, very difficult job to translate simultaneously. So I would like to thank them for this. And thanks everyone, and we look forward to the next webinar or the next opportunity to meet you. If you want to say something, Eva, before we close.
I'd just like to thank everybody for their participation and the questions. This has been a great session. I'm really excited about being able to share these products with you, and judging from the depth and breadth of the questions, I'd say that everyone else is excited about it as well. So I look forward to working together with these products.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.